My name is Bella Bognar. I am a 15-year-old author. I've been published since I was 12 years old, and I was given the opportunity to be here at this event. I'm very grateful to be here. And in this speech, I'm going to be talking about what it's like to be an author, talking about my upcoming books, and what I'm going to be doing here at this event. I started writing when I was 10 years old. I was lucky enough to be published when I was 12 years old, and over the course of my career, my writing has changed so much, even if it's just been 3 short years. I published my first novel in November. It's called Life, Wife, Knife. It's a murder mystery sort of novel, and it takes place in a small town in Texas that actually exists. There's talk of a cult that actually existed in Texas, so it's a little bit of true crime, but also some fiction as well. Most of my books are poetry that is about my real life and about my experiences with relationships, friendships, high school drama, things like that, things that every other person has gone through, and things that people can relate to, and that's what I specialize in. Being a young author is different than being 30 and being an author for so many reasons, and one of the bigger reasons is that when you're younger, naturally people don't take you as seriously as if you were an adult. And it's shocking and alarming to me that sometimes when I would try to get events and try to get my name out there, that people would always push it to the side and say, well, you're only 13, you're only 14, you're only 15, you can't do this yet, you can't possibly know what this is yet, you don't know what you're doing yet. The word yet was used to me a lot, but finally I was able to just promote myself and just be authentic, and there was even times where I pretended to be someone older trying to get a signing at some place. I'd be like, hello, I am trying to get a signing, I'm an author, I've published books, you can Google me, trust me, and I would walk in and they'd be like, you are not 22, you are 15. The lengths that I go to for my writing are great because it really means a lot to me, and it also means a lot to me to promote to people that are my age, to promote to them and say that they can do whatever they set their mind to, and I always say that all you have to do is dare to dream. The hardest part is dreaming it, because there's constantly people in your life who are going to be telling you, no, you can't do that, no, you can't make it there, you're not going to be able to do this. There's always going to be people like that, and the hardest part is to overcome that and dream anyway, and still be able to find the courage and muster up the courage to be able to do it. My next book is coming out on July 25th. It's called I Loved a Magician, and it's a book that's unlike anything that I've ever written before. I say that with every book, but this time I swear I mean it. It's a book about heartbreak, and it's meant to be kind of very creative and artsy and even angsty. I talked to my editor and the people who helped me publish, and I said, can I just write something that's just ridiculously like teenagery and angsty? And they said, okay, where are you going with this? Over the course of the book, I was able to change my mind on a lot of things. I realized that I just didn't want it to just be a heartbreak book. I kind of wanted it to be a homecoming, a throwback back to my roots, back when I wrote a certain style of poetry, back when I wrote something different, back when I would meticulously plan my releases. Because over the course of my career, my writing has changed a lot, so I wanted to make something that would be really impactful, with every poem carefully cultivated and written by me. Every poem in that book is carefully written, worded. I analyzed every single word. Every word has a meaning. There's nothing in there that is just written for the sake of being written in the book. It all has a meaning. There's always something behind it, and the true beauty of poetry is that there's so many different meanings to so many different people. Anyone can read a poem and it can mean something completely different. I could personally write a poem and think that to me it's about a friendship that I lost, but to someone else it could be about someone who passed away. It could be about a breakup. It could be about someone that they haven't even met yet, but they really want to know well. It could be about anything, and you can truly just picture what each poem means to you, and that's the beauty of poetry to me. Being a young author is a privilege, and also something that's very hard, and something that is a challenge, and is something that most people haven't done, can't do, don't think that they can do. And something that I've learned along the way is that the people who tell you that you can't do it and who say that you're not going to get where you're going, most of the time they're wrong. But also, they're the people who don't have the courage to even take the first step. the people who tell me that I can't become an author and that I'm never actually going to make it and this could never actually be my career, they're always the people who haven't even picked up a book in years, or they haven't written in years, or they want to be an author but they're just too scared to because they're insecure of their writing and they don't think that they can do it. And I've even caught myself talking to other successful authors and being like, well, they're not that successful, and it's kind of being backhanded. But even though I know that I want to be where they are, and I have never met a successful author who has told me that I can't do it. They've only ever tried to help me. They've only ever said to me, you can do this. Let me show you how to do this. Let me offer this help to you. Let me put out a helping hand and explain what I know so that way you can get where I am. I have never met a successful person who has told me that I can't do it. I have met people who have wanted to be in my position who have told me that I can't do it. I have met people who are too scared to take that big first leap and are too scared to put themselves out there. I have met those kinds of people, and those are the people that tell me that I can't do it. So if someone tells you, if you really want to be a writer, if you really want to be a musician, if you really want to be a ballerina, if the people who tell you that you can't do it, they're wrong. And they're the people who aren't going to do it, who can't do it, who think that they can't do it, who do not dare to dream. And that's just something really impactful that has stuck with me through my career as an author. Especially as a young author, living in a world where people don't always take me seriously all of the time. My book, I Loved a Magician, is ruthless at times, but also soft and tender. There's poems in there that are just the most relatable and the most heartwarming poems that I have ever written. I have a poem in there that's called Relatable Until You're Not. And that's a poem that really sticks with me then and still to this day. Relatable Until You're Not is a poem that came to me while I was on my way to school one day. I was talking to someone in the car, and they said, and I was talking about how I felt like no one understood what I was going through, and I was like, no one gets me, and they're like, someone gets you. You're coming off as not relatable because you're pretending that none of this other stuff is happening. Like, I was going through something, and they'd be like, well, you're acting like you're fine. You're acting like you're not going through anything. And that's where I came up with the concept that you're relatable until you're not. Until people think that you are too perfect. Until you're on this pedestal, until people are jealous of you. So something that I swore that I would never ever do in my career is that I would never come off as too proud, too good, above people. I swore that I would never do that a long time ago. I always said that I would be vulnerable, I would be honest, I would be grateful for every single person who purchases my book. I would be kind to everyone who is a fan of me, to anyone who supports me at all. I would never treat them if they were lesser than or that they can't be what I have become. That's something that's always been very important to me as an author, being relatable forever. Not relatable until you're not, relatable forever. It's learning how to be someone who is strong, but also soft when you need to be. Another poem in I Loved a Magician that's going to be coming out on July 25th, it's called Never the Boldest. This is possibly the most honest poem that I've ever written in my entire life. It's a poem about how I was never the kid that you would be like, oh yeah? Well, if you're going to be mean to me, talk to her. Like, you would never say that about me. You'd be like, oh yeah, Bella, she's just going to silently watch and read a book or write something in the corner. She's not going to come up and yell at you if you do something mean to me. I was never that person. And it was really hard for me for a long time to figure out how to be bold, how to make my mark, how to make people listen to me, because I always felt like people didn't listen to me. So I wrote a poem called Never the Boldest, a poem where I talk about how it feels to just never be the chosen one, never be the golden child, never be the one that people look up to, and then realizing that that's really all in your own head. The truth is that everyone's chosen for something. Even if you're not chosen for being able to be loud and proud, maybe you're chosen for being soft and able to listen to people. Maybe instead of being chosen for your amazing dance moves, maybe you're chosen for your amazing music skills. You're always chosen for something different. And that's what that poem really explores. And you can explore your own meaning of that poem when my book is released on July 25th by purchasing it on Amazon. So I just want to start now, but does anyone have any questions at all? Because, yes.
Do you actually type, or are you just speak and it types?
I write my books all on my computer. I typically write them while either I usually have a process, I read something, or I go on a walk, or I do something that is going to make me inspired to write, and then I just type it all on my computer. Or if I'm in a position where I can't physically write it down on a computer, I write it down on a notebook with a pen and paper. Anything else? All right. I Loved a Magician, like I said, is a book that explores many different topics. Not only does it talk about a breakup, but it also talks about losing friends, even like other hardships that people go through, and that's what truly makes it an impactful and diverse book. So thank you all for your time today, and